Hey there! Welcome back to another video. This time it is a rant on the rancid comedy Snatched that really did stink like a rotten snatch. It really did. Now, this is a comedy that, yes, dubiously stars Amy Schumer as well as Goldie Hawn, which is really, it's really rough to see, to be honest. I know Goldie can do better than this. I know that she is still got it. She's one of the only reasons why this wasn't a total waste of my time. Because Goldie Hawn, despite the fact that she's almost completely unrecognizable because of all the plastic surgery she's had over the years, she still has that charisma, that spark that she's always had. And I didn't hate her in the film. I just hated that she was in the movie because somebody of her caliber deserves to be in a better film for her comeback. She hadn't been in a film in almost a decade, and she comes back with this shit. Actually, over a decade. Because it was 2002. Her last film was in 2002. So this is over a decade. She hasn't been in a film for 15 years, and she comes back with Snatched. It just, very disappointing. It's written by Jonathan Levine, who isn't really the greatest director in the world. I mean, this is a guy who's responsible for The Night Before, which is a very lame Christmas comedy with a good cast. He did 50-50, which I heard is pretty good, but I've never seen it. Warm Bodies, which probably would be better than this. He did the horror film All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, which was held back from release for many years. And he produced Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, which is a shitty comedy. But I would say that was funnier than Snatched. And that's saying a lot, because Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates was a pretty awful comedy. But it has a leg up on Snatched. It's written by Katie Dippold, who... The script is one of this film's biggest failings, is the screenplay. Katie Dippold is one of the same writers who was responsible for the absolute disaster that was the Ghostbusters remake that came out last year. And her same shitty sense of humor carries over into the script for Snatched. There is just a multitude of jokes that just don't fucking work and aren't funny. Welcome. Get it? You know, no, it's not welcome that she's drinking. It's so fucking sad that I'm talking about a film with Goldie Hawn, who is one of the best comedians to ever live, to ever walk this earth, and she's in a film where she's spitting out a drink because she thinks it's welcome. I mean, god damn, that's fucking frustrating. Amy Schumer, I didn't mind Trainwreck. I thought that was actually a decent movie. This is the real Trainwreck. Her performance in this is awful. She clearly doesn't give a shit, and it shows. She's not funny. I don't know if Katie Dippold is to blame or if the Jonathan Levine just let her improvise. I don't know what it is, but it's just a load of shit. Her whole performance is a load of shit in this film. Her character is annoying. She's not likable. You don't really buy her change by the end of the movie. And really, this idea of a mother and daughter who go on a trip together to Ecuador and get involved in some hijinks and get kidnapped and have to find their way out actually isn't that bad of an idea. I think that might work if you had a better screenplay or a better director, or it was actually funny, or if you had the two actually had chemistry. Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn had absolutely zero chemistry with one another. I didn't buy that they were mother and daughter. And I really think this film would have been a lot better if you had Kate Hudson in this role with a different screenplay. Make it something like 6 Days and 7 Nights, an action-adventure comedy, not a really lame, lazy-ass, tired comedy like it is, with the gross-out humor and shit and all that. There's nothing worse to me than an unfunny comedy that also is predictable. And that's this film has so many predictable jokes in it, and that is not a good thing at all in a comedy when I can predict what joke is coming next. That's bad. That's really, really bad. So, yeah, I think you should have had like Kate Hudson and Goldie Hawn in an action-adventure comedy together. That could have been a lot of fun. And it's mother and daughter, and I know Kate Hudson hasn't been in a film in a long time, but, I could accept that and give her another shot, because she, Goldie Hawn hadn't been in the film for 15 years. Her last film was The Banger Sisters in 2002. So it would have been right at home to have Kate Hudson return or have a bigger role in a film that comes out in theaters with her mom, and they would have had chemistry, because they're actually are mother and daughter, and I don't think they've starred in the film together. I don't remember if they did or not, so that would be a fun thing to see. Instead, we just get this shit. It's a shitty fucking comedy. It's not the worst comedy I've seen this year. I would probably say I thought Fist Fight was worse than this, because Goldie Hawn had some moments, and there were the character of the U.S. State Department officer Morgan Russell, played by Bashir Salahuddin, was absolutely. I think that's the guy. U.S. State Department agents. I'm trying to see if that's the guy. Yeah, Morgan Russell. Yeah, it is the guy. He was great. He stole the show. His deadpan was fantastic. And he had a move at the end of the movie that was just perfectly summed up how I feel about the movie. He was just like saluting to Ike Barinholtz, and he was like, "Fuck you." So that's like the perfect diss on this film. He was good. I liked him. He was funny. But for the most part, though, it was just full of lame ass jokes, and the film's biggest saving grace was Goldie Hawn and the fact that it was only 90 something minutes. But even then, it kind of started to drag after the hour mark, or even before that. Now, it stars Amy Schumer, regrettably, as Emily Middleton, who is an unlikable fucking bitch from the moment you see her on screen. She's giving shit to these customers at a clothing store she's working at, and apparently, you think that she's just some random shopper there, but no, she's actually an employee. She gets fired for her shitty behavior. She's trying to get people to go with her to Ecuador, because her boyfriend broke up with her, and really, I think Randall Park plays her boyfriend, Michael, and he's a total prick, and you could tell that Randall Park is just doing this for a paycheck, because his performance in this cameo role is pitiful, and she then fails in trying to get her friends to go to Ecuador with her, because she's such a shitty person and she's not reliable. So she ultimately gets her mom to go with her, Linda, played by Goldie Hawn, and she sees this hot guy, James, played by Tom Bateman. She trusts him, which she shouldn't in a foreign country like this, and she and her mom get kidnapped by this ruthless, drug-dealing, I'm trying to think of the right word for the it's not a mafioso, because it's not the mafia, drug lord. They get captured by this drug lord, Morgado, who's played by Óscar Jaenada. And the rest of the film features them trying to stay one step ahead of this guy, because they escape, and they're trying to get out of the country, and You have Ike Barinholtz, who plays this annoying fucking brother of Emily, who's just, the whole shtick is that he's annoying, and it did kind of, he did a good job being annoying, and I did chuckle at one scene where he's trying to guilt Morgan into helping him out, and he's all like, "I'm an annoying motherfucker. Like, I've read every single Game of Thrones novel, and I will send you spoilers." So it was just, this guy is just a total annoying twat, and he did a good job playing the role of that character. Mama, it was like, it's just so fucking annoying. And Morgan Russell was great with his deadpan dealing with him. I mean, the character Morgan Russell and the actor Bashir Salahuddin. I probably didn't say his last name correctly, but I really liked his performance in this. I wish he was in a better movie. You also have Wanda Sykes, who's just playing Wanda Sykes in this, and Joan Cusack as Barb, who's like some former special forces, some former special forces agent who tore out her own tongue in order to not reveal information to the enemy, and she's just a clumsy. Well, she's not really clumsy, because there are scenes where she's doing all these acrobatic moves and stuff, which isn't believable in the slightest. And I was like, "Is that Joan Cusack?" And I was like, "It is." And I'm like, "Oh man, this really, Joan Cusack? She's so much more talented than what you see here." It's sad to see Joan Cusack in this, just slumming her way in this film in a role that she has nothing to do except just act tough and make silly faces. It sucks. She deserves so much better than shit like this, and so does Goldie Hawn. The movie costs like $42 million. I don't know where that money went. It does not look like a $42 million film. $42 million budgeted movie. Maybe the shots on location. Maybe that's it. That's another thing that was fairly well done. They shot it in real jungles. I'll give it that. I'll give it props for that. Not a whole lot of props, but I'll give it some props for that. Oh yeah, also had Christopher Meloni from Law and Order as some guy who Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn think is a guide to lead them through the jungle to get them to Bogota so they can get a hold of the U.S. consulate and get out of there. And he's just some random guy who got cancer, who quit his job and is just trying to, I guess, lose himself in the jungle and die doing some adventure. And he dies in a way that's predictable, and the character isn't much. There's not much to the character. It's one of those comedies that tries to have action, and then it fails in that regard because none of the action is good. What is up with these action comedies that just have crappy action sequences? I mean, what is up with it? I liked The Heat, but one of the worst things about that film was the action scenes. There's nothing about the two of these action scenes. They're trite, they're forgettable, they're rote, they just suck. I mean, I don't understand how these actions... I'm more interested in brushing my hair than I am talking about this movie, apparently. But anyway, yeah, what is up with these action sequences? They're not even trying anymore. They're not trying with the comedy, and they're not trying with the action. And, I mean, so you have a terrible script by Katie Dipstick with awful jokes, a weird tone. There's a scene later that's straight out of a horror film where Amy Schumer has a tapeworm coaxed out of her throat, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? This doesn't even fit the film. What is this shit? And jokes that just go nowhere, that are the bad jokes you saw in the trailer. There's more of those in the movie. The film's chock full of that shit, that scatological humor, the cum jokes, what comedy has devolved into lately. These just gross out humor. Your tits out. Well, thank you. One thing I definitely did not need to ever see in my life is Amy Schumer's pepperoni nipples. Okay? I didn't need to see Amy Schumer's pepperoni nipples. Amy Schumer is enough. And like I said, I didn't mind Trainwreck. Trainwreck I thought was okay. It was a decent film. It clearly had a much better script. Amy Schumer was actually, I thought, a likable character in that. She's the complete opposite in Snatched. I didn't care if she lived or died. I would have been fine if she got fucking killed in a jail cell in South America or tortured to death. It would not have bothered me at all. It features music by Theodore Shapiro and Chris Bacon. Nothing to it whatsoever. They had some song choices that were, I guess there was some recent sort of hip-hop stuff, and they had Dancing with Myself at the end. The cinematography by Florian Bauhaus, not much to run home about. The editing by Melissa Breverton and Sine Baker. I guess it was serviceable. It's not saying much. I mean, it's a feature film that released in theaters. You should have serviceable editing. The movie, though, it made a profit. It was made for $42 million and it made $60 million. So it wasn't a huge hit, but it still made a profit, which sucks to say. I hate saying that. I hate saying that shit like Snatched actually made some money. Because it did. It's fucking lame. Yeah, it was shot in Hawaii. It does show. I mean, there's some really nice visuals in Hawaii and everything. And other than that, I really don't know what else to say about the movie. For the most part, it suffered from a lack of likable characters, a lack of jokes and genuine humor. It had a nice heart to it, but it didn't feel genuine because I didn't buy Amy Schumer really changing the way she is, and I didn't really buy the role that she played, and I didn't buy the relationship she has with her mother. I didn't buy any of that. Goldie Hawn tried. She tried her best. You could tell even in this shitty film that she could still act. She still has it, and I hope that she will be in films in the near future that suit her talents a lot better than Snatched. And I would love to see Bashir Salahuddin in better films as well. But really, that's all I gotta say. And Paul Feig has his fucking fingerprints all over this pap smear of a fucking comedy. It's safe to say everything that he and Katie touches lately turns to shit. It doesn't turn to gold, it turns to shit. Anyway, thank you for watching my review of Snatched, and as always, I will see you guys later. See ya.